Hi guys, welcome to this video on the idea of factorizing by grouping, which is the second video on this little bit about factorization, just reviewing some of these basic methods. Now, factorizing by grouping is perhaps a method of factorization that you haven't perhaps used that much, although that does depend a little bit on your background. But let me have a look at what we mean by this, and what we'll see actually later on is that this is actually going to be quite a useful method of factorizing quadratics, as we'll see later. So let's just take an example here. So let's take a relatively straightforward one to begin with. So let's say we had this example here. Now what I'd like you to notice on this is that you have two factors here, the 3 and the x plus 2. Yes, an expression like x plus 2 is counted as being a factor. And we also have over here the factor y and x plus 2 again. Now, you should be able to see that the x plus 2 is a common factor. So let's factorize that just by taking out the common factor. So we'll just change that back to green. Okay, so let's take the x plus 2 out as a common factor. Now the question is, what's going to go inside the bracket coming over here? Well, x plus 2 times that 3 would give that first part back, and we need a plus sign because this is all positive here, and x plus 2 times a y would give that second part over here back, and this is now in fully factorized form. Okay, let's take a look at another example where perhaps we don't have this partial or this common factor already being taken out. So let's take a look at this example here. That's ax minus 4a, it'll be, plus 3x minus 12. Now what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get a common factor that we can write basically something like this in a form similar to this here. So we need to find a common factor. Well, if I look at the first two terms of this expression, I can see that a is a common factor, and I think you probably can see that x minus 4 would go in a bracket here. And if I take 3 out as a factor of these two, I'm also going to get x minus 4. Well, let's actually show that that happens. So let's take a out as the common factor of this, the first two parts here. And that would be true. And then I'm going to take 3 out, and this would be x minus 4 as well. You can confirm that by expanding. And x minus 4 is now a common factor of both these parts here, and what would go inside the brackets is a plus 3. And once again, x minus 4 times a would give this part back, x minus 4 times 3 would give this part back. Okay, and perhaps one final example where sometimes a little bit of rearrangement might be needed. Okay, so let's take a look at this example here. AH plus AR minus AR minus AH. Capital A, small a, different variables. Okay, so let's have a look at this here. Well, if I look at the first two terms of this, well, there are no common factors. Okay, and so are we not able to do this method? Well, sometimes a little bit of rearrangement will help. So I'm going to notice that this capital A and capital A here, if I actually rewrite this with those two terms first, I can take A out, capital A out, as a common factor, and have h minus r as a common factor, as inside the bracket I mean. And what about the rest of this here? AR minus AH. Okay, well, let's just go ahead with this for now. We're going to have this, and let's take the A out, and I am aware that there is an issue here. Okay, so we've got H minus R and R minus H here. So are we sort of unable to continue? No, what we can do is, instead of doing this here, I could actually have taken minus A out as a factor. So let's put a line through that for now, and let's see what happens if I do that. So minus A, now that would mean I'd need to have negative A times negative R to give this positive AR back, and negative A times H, positive H, to give this back. Now, is H minus R, is that the same as negative R plus H? Are they equal? Well, yes, they are. So effectively this means the same thing as that. Now, you might be able to get to this stage here a little quicker without putting all those steps I put in, but H minus R is now a common factor, and capital A minus small a would go inside the second bracket. Okay, so there's some examples of what we call factorising by grouping, and we'll do some further questions on that in class, so we'll catch you there.